So, anyway. All
Okay,
right,
Mike.
welcome. We got this year's field day in the books. Is still another year at not quite back to normal, but we went and did it anyways. Did it again at Atchison Park at top of the hill. We operated as 4A. And according to our notes, we had 25 people showing up and visiting us this year. I think that's down a teeny bit, and I think that had a lot to do with the weather more so than the COVID. But we also did have a number of people that did participate from home or mobile or where they were at. So that ARR was still in effect this year. So we had the exemption to the contributing the scores to our combined score. But this year, the only change to the rules was that they had a 100-watt limit on the transmit power for home stations. Last year, they seemed to be a bit overwhelming to some of the field stations. So the ARR cut that back a little bit for us.
I thought it was 150.
Might have been, yeah. It was basically you couldn't run legal limit. You had to drop back down to a lower power.
Yeah, I thought it was either 150 or 200. I think 150 is what I heard.
Those who contributed scores to the club this year here listed. Couple new calls in there. So apparently, as SLAARC's reach is further out than our normal membership, so I got some new calls in there for a couple that I don't recognize. So yeah, we had a number of people participate, and when the scores are aggregated and scored up, you know, we'll see how everybody does. It looks like we had some good results. Here are some pictures. We are at the top of the hill at the same spot on the east side that we've had in the past. Last year, of course, the park was closed because of COVID, so we had stepped away for a year, and we're at Proud Lake. But this year we're back to the top, and this year we had Bruce's RV here as one of our stations, and we also used the trailer for 2 stations indoors, and also later on Sunday we set up a side table and operated there because the weather was decent on Sunday. Originally we had a lot of plans to model all the antennas and set them up in a certain configuration with the towers, and that just didn't meet you know, what is the phrase,
it got rained out.
Well, yeah, but with the best plans fit, you know, when they first contact with the enemy. Well, yeah, we put a lot of effort into planning it. We were going to set the structures up with the, you know, the portable shelters we got from Costco, but none of that happened because of the weather. This year, it's just playing against us. But so for those that did make it out, we had in the records, we had about 12 operators get on the air and almost 1,200 contacts. So even in spite of the weather, we operated for the bulk of the 24 hours, and we got all modes and 8 bands. So we also were able to copy the ARR bulletin, which is always nice. Gets a few more bonus points for us. Here we had the 2 separate setups to allow social distancing. We had the RV, as we saw there, and then the trailer. So we had 4 antennas that were set up, and these were more of an expedient style. We decided because of the weather, the ground was really soft. They decided to skip setting up the towers, and we got a couple portable fiberglass masts and set up an off-center fed dipole. And let me see if I think in this here. The club purchased 2 of these. These are 46-foot fiberglass masks with the quick locks on them. And originally we were thinking about a different style, but turns out that this was a good decision because with the storms rolling in, we decided to collapse these and get them down so that the storms wouldn't rip them down or attract any lightning. So we were able to get these things down on Saturday evening and we were able to drop them fairly quick, and then we're able to erect them again, but it's a little bit more trouble in the dark when things get tangled, but that's what happens when you have to react.
Yeah, and one discussion topic was if we had had the tower up.
John, we lost your audio.
Yep, you muted.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, there you are.
Yeah,
Start from scratch.
that because we were able to quickly collapse these with the oncoming weather, it would not have been nearly this easy with the towers.
Yeah.
So we felt that we had ultimate flexibility with the potential tornado coming through Saturday evening.
No, anyway, so these were kitted out with some rings that Eric inserted, so that they have guy rings at various levels, and he's pre-measured the guy ropes so they can be laid out on stakes. So we've got those in the kit. I believe those things are pretty much going to stay with the rest of the club supplies, and I think they're going to really work out for us in the future. That it was they were real easy to set up, and they're going to really, I think, replace the metal one that we have that's just kind of bent, which requires some persuasion with a hammer to get it to collapse back down. So these are working out well for us already.
We brought,
we also
you said with the club stuff, they're at my place under my the room under my deck.
Oh, okay.
If you guys need them for anything, we don't have to go to the water tower to get them.
Right. Yeah. So again, for the configuration that we had here, the off-center fed dipole that was slung between the two of them was good for 80 to 10. And on we always use the 40-meter vertical that Larry built. That always works great. So that was out further out in the field. And we had a couple dipole in inverted V on the northern mast, and a 40-meter dipole inverted V on the south. So we had two masts holding up a total of 3 antennas, which worked out pretty well, I think. I didn't hear of much about feedback or any interference between stations with the way that they were configured. So I think they worked out fairly well for us. Is that true, John?
Yes, we did not have the normal hash that we'd have fought in previous iterations, particularly on the digital station. It was very nice this year.
Yeah. So speaking of the radios, we've got decided to use the Elecraft radios this year, be consistent amongst all stations, and based on the previous presentation we had with Mr. Sherwood there, decided that we wanted to use the nice sensitive receivers and the phase mode interference rejection that they have. So this was the first year that we saw a K4 in the field. Bruce contributed his new one that was in the RV. We had a K3 that was on loan to us from SLAARC because they're not doing Field Day. They were doing their the Balloon Fest support. So their radio is just sitting idle in the EOC. So we were able to borrow it. And then we also had another one that W8RA contributed, and that was used for the digital modes.
Mike, do you have any feedback on how the Balloon Fest went with the weather the way it was? I'm curious. I didn't realize that was going on at the same time, but if we had problems, boy, I bet they really had problems.
Probably no, I haven't heard anything about it.
There was not a Balloon Fest, Mike.
So they canceled it?
It was yeah, it got canceled.
There was something else. They launched a balloon, but there wasn't a regular Balloon Fest.
Okay. Thank you.
So here's a summary of all the contacts made by the operators. Screenshot shows here approximately 1180 QSOs. I think there was a synchronization problem with one of the stations with N1MM, and I think a couple QSOs may have gotten hand edited here. So this is approximate. But you can see we had a decent number of operators show up to, for this year. Got a lot of contacts in the log in spite of the storm. If we see here, next slide, we've got a big blow up here. So we got 80 meters, we got 40 meters, 20 meters, all the way down to 10 meters. We actually had a decent amount there, and just a few on the VHF, UHF. As always, 40 meters was the lion's share of contacts. It always does great for us. Some of the other bands were not as well represented. I don't know if that's because of the storms that made summertime noise or whatever, but yeah, but we still got a decent amount considering what we had to deal with. Here we have the statistics for this, again, by band and mode. And another one, operator by band and mode here as well. So looks like Lewis had 280 as I think that he led the way for our voice contacts. And W8RA had CW contacts. So digital also is out there. We had FT8, I think, was our primary mode. John, I believe did you make any PSK or RIDI?
No, it was all FT4, FT8.
Okay. And this is how did that work with the new exchange built into it? Did it seem to be pretty solid?
It seemed pretty solid. The little hiccup was with the new WSJTX integrated into N1MM. It took a little getting used to because you controlled some things through N1MM rather than WSJTX.
Okay, well, it's always good to learn, do this stuff out, and figure out what we need to do better next time. And so here's again some more statistics. These are by band by hour. Again, here we have our drop off, and this is primarily because of that storm related shutdown. We saw that weather front coming in, so we dropped the one antenna here. So eventually we got it back up, but it wasn't as elevated up on the mast as we would have liked, because it was dark and we got a little bit of tangling, so it didn't get up as high as we would have if we had been able to do it during the day and see what we were doing.
It was about what, 8 feet off the ground?
The feed
Maybe?
point, yeah, it was kind of drooped. It was more of a normal V instead of inverted V. But that was, it actually made some decent contacts even in that, where it was at. I think Lewis said he got Hawaii on it.
Yeah. I got Alaska, I think, on FT8.
No. So some more pictures here. These are by operators. We got N8LEK, and I don't know why I got labeled here, but somebody nope, that's last year. Sorry, that one made it in here somehow. This is last year's slide. I guess this is just to compare what we did last year versus this year. Last year we were at Proud Lake and we had a smaller setup, and that was during the height of the COVID lockdown, and we were just coming out of the lockdown, so we were really isolated. We didn't have as much operating time as well, because that park closes at 10 p.m. and doesn't open again until 8 a.m. So we lost a lot of operating time there as well. So that's why, it was a nice place to visit. It was a nice operating location, but it just going back to the top of the hill was really the right choice. Here is a picture of our digital contacts as we were heard. This screenshot was taken later from PSK Reporter, so not sure the power levels we were running, but based on the different bands and the times of day, we were got some DX there, I believe. So all in all, I mean, we had a pretty good attendance, and I think that the people that visited were enjoying themselves. We actually were able to meet for an event in person and see each other. I think this was probably the first time that we've seen each other in a while. So it was good for that. The bands themselves were decent. I didn't hear of any complaints about any, bands being short or, noisy because of storms. I myself, here I operated from home, and I pretty much got nearly a clean sweep on states. It was really good band conditions. The other thing is that, it was, kept an eye on the weather and we just played it by ear. But, what went wrong this year was the weather, and, that's not something any of us can control. So it is what it is. And we adapted and we proceeded and had a good field day. There's a couple things that we continue to experience with IT related issues as Windows keeps getting updated or non-updated depending on the PCs. And, it's just something we have to do, adapt with and roll with. So, excuse me. Results as always be published in November. So we'll look to see what our score was and see how we placed amongst all the 4As.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I noticed that last year there was no FT4 and this year there was a considerable amount of it. How did that work out versus FT8, and what are the pros and cons there for contesting?
You want to handle that, John?
Yes, FT8 is the majority of stations that are on the air, both last year and this year. Most of the FT communications is FT8. FT4 is half the time to make the exchange, but it's also a little more adverse to excess noise, and it might take you a few more times to complete the queue, so making it sometimes longer than FT8 because it's more sensitive. There are also fewer stations on FT4, so as an example, this year I would switch over to FT4, run it until I ran all the stations that I could hear, and then switch back to FT8, where it's pretty much unlimited stations.
Yep. So that pretty much wrapped it up for our field day this year. And I know for anyone who wasn't able to join us because of either the weather or other COVID concerns with the isolation that we're still dealing with, N8SL is still going to continue to get on the air. We've been doing parks on the air and the winter field day, and those have been enjoying those, and those have been getting fairly good results as well. So if anyone who missed doing field day, we're going to continue to do some more parks on the air. So in fact, I can switch out here and jump into the next one, because following the field day, we had Parks on the Air has a quarterly or every season has a organized support your parks activity every third weekend in January, April, July, and October. And that's to help encourage get a lot of stations on the air. So we were able to participate in this year's in July. And why do we want to do that? Well, because, the Parks on the Air provides our participants with a lot of experience, and that's operating portable or mobile in a park. And, ham radio gets out because a lot of us don't have great antennas at QTHs or live in apartments, or, whatever we have is just not able to reach out as well as it could if it was away from, the subdivisions and all the noise that we have. Parks on the Air also gets our hobby in front of the public. So we have a lot of interactions with park staff, the rangers, and other public members. I get a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, I know that I used to do that, or I knew somebody that was doing that. I didn't know that was still a thing. Or, I've got some people that come up and that say, oh yeah, I used to be in it. I do drones now. And they come over and they want to know what's going on. So yeah, you get a lot of people that stop by and knock on the window and say, hey, what's going on? And how do I find out about it? So It's also something that, I like to do. It's got a lot of similar interests with a lot of the people I deal with, that we like to get out to parks, see the sights and the places that we have in this country, and travel around. And while we've seen them, we can do our hobby in them as well. For those who like awards, Parks on the Air has a lot of awards, depending on if you want to activate a park or if you're looking to just chase the parks and get them in your own log. There's also band or some time-specific awards. So it's a nice little way of tracking your achievements on a personal goal level. And it's also, right now, it's a great way of getting out and still practicing the hobby. And for things like for the field day, it puts us in places that, we can get out and be away from people while we're doing the social distancing. So for anybody who is not able to go to a park and visit and join us and just hang out with us, you can also participate even if you're just at home, and you don't have to be signed up for parks. You can just, if you hear a station calling Parks on the Air and they're looking for contacts, all you have to do is call them and get in their log. And that's enough to participate, because that helps the activator get enough contacts to qualify their activation, so they get their points for activations. So a little bit of history on Parks on the Air was set up the year following the ARRL. They had their National Parks on the Air in 2016, and that was to celebrate the National Parks 100th year anniversary centennial. It was really popular activity, but it ran for only a year. So when it was over, there were a lot of folks of us who decided we liked that and we want it to continue. So we started our own, and it's not affiliated with the ARRL. It's just our own thing that we started. Initially, when we started, it was just United States, and it was just the federal and state level parks. And since then, we've grown to 48 countries. In the system now, we have over 25,000 parks that are active and people can go to put on the air. And we also have almost 14,000 people registered on our website that are active in the program. So it's an activity that presents a lot of opportunities for people to be busy, either going to a park and activating or being at home and chasing them. More information is parksontheair.com, or as always, you can also talk to me as well at breakfast or on a meeting, or some of the other event members are also very active in this. So we like participating in it because it gets our membership out and we get to practice with our own equipment. We get to learn how to set up our gear, maybe learn some new techniques and new antennas. It's just something that we like to do to help keep N8SL on the air as well, because having it on the air just once a year with the field day is not enough for some of us. So we like to get it out and get to the parks. So this year, the Summer Parks program had the plaques as an award. This is actually a physical once a year an award that we do, so that this really encourages a lot of people to participate. People really plan a lot of time for going out and maximizing how many parks they can do in a weekend, how many contacts they can get. Generates a lot of interest. And here in about an hour, I guess one of our guys is going to be live streaming on the Ham Radio 2.0 podcast, the results. So we'll see who got what. And one of our own, John, got one of the plaques a couple of years ago for the most digital contacts as an activator. So,
and then it was early enough in the plaques that I wasn't even aware that we'd be in the running, but it happened to occur with one of our club outings, so that was cool.
So anyway, we for this past one that we did. We were not able to get a shelter at Island Lake. Normally that's our go-to place because it's centrally located for a lot of us. The shelters were already reserved because the popularity of the parks since COVID lockdown came to an end. Parks have been very popular. A lot of crowds at the parks. So we were able to get a shelter at Brighton. Very nice location. It has a covered patio with a bunch of picnic tables, electricity, and it's got its own restrooms. for the price that we paid for it, I think Lewis did it this year. I think it's about $85 or $90 for a day. And thought was that this could be a fallback location if we ever lose the field day site up at Atchison Park. And given that the price of the Porta-John keeps going up, this might actually become cheaper for a field day location. However, we still have to deal with some other logistics about getting into the park after that's 10 o'clock closing. So still got to work on talking to the park staff and finding out if there's exceptions that can be made for, you know, us to be able to get in and stay there after hours. But otherwise, it's during the day, it's a fabulous place to be. We have a lot of real estate to spread out on, a lot of parking, and it's easy to access. Very, very nice spot to operate. And then we were only out on one day this week, on that weekend. We went out on Sunday because that's the time most of us had available. And the weather was very nice, pleasant as compared to the regular field day that we had previous few weeks. So very comfortable, just nice to hang out. We had a lot of visitors stop by. I don't know if anybody else has heard, but we had probably 20-ish, almost as many here as we did with the field day. And just people just hanging out and getting together. And it was a lot of fun just to meet and greet, even if we didn't get everybody on the air. But was able to sit with some of the newer people and just talk about what we were doing with Parks on the Air, and then with getting the club members involved in getting them up to speed on some of the procedures on how to do it, and just getting some of the contacts and making contacts with other parks. So here's what we did. Contacts, we had mostly, I think, 40 meters. I think we had a few other bands that I think John did some digital ones on 17, 20, and a couple of higher bands, but
Yeah,
we didn't.
only 17.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we weren't out there to run a huge amount of numbers, but we had a lot of fun. I know Eric, see here, he's got 65 QSOs for a few hours of sitting there at the park, and that's pretty good. Again, just going out there, setting up a little antenna and running your battery powered radio and making some contacts. Lewis was there for a while. I think he opened up the place when he got there first, so he warmed it up for us. He got 32 contacts, and I got a little bit of CW too. I tried to mix it up there, so the club made contacts in all three modes there. So we had 159 contacts as a club on that one day for, I don't know, there maybe about 4 or 5 hours. So
Yeah,
I think that was pretty good.
and Jen got to try out her new radio, so that was good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something we get to do is learn our own gear and getting better with it. So in the next event that's on the schedule for Parks on the Air is in October. So that would be the third weekend in October. And right now that's kind of to be determined. We don't know if that's where it's going to be and who's going to be able to attend and what dates we would do. So that's also, a lot of that depends on the shelters, what's available. If we can get something out of season, it's always best to get them for free. The parks in the past have been pretty generous about letting us use the shelters for all weekend for basically just signing up for the permit, and they waive the fee. So that's really nice of them. So we also have Winter Field Day that'll be coming up in January. That typically we do in Island Lake, and the other one that we typically do in the fall is the astronomy at the beach, and that I believe is off the schedule for this year. They're not doing that again. So this is what we got for the rest of the year.
Yeah, probably our major astronomy event's going to be the Eris Contact, the first half of 2022.
Yeah. So any questions from anyone on the what we did there with Parks on the Air or the upcoming ones?
I have one.
Carter, are you
Just-
talking? Because you're muted.
Thank you. Yes, I've got a field day question for you, Mike.
What's that?
I'm just curious, you didn't seem to list all of the home operators when you listed the number of queues that the home operators had. Any reason, or just something got lost in the shuffle, or what happened?
The results came directly from the ARRL's list of submitted call signs. They don't list the scores. So I
Okay.
got that directly from the ARRL's website. So-
Okay, because I sent Eric my Cabreo file. So
Oh, did? Okay. Yeah, I didn't see it. I'm not sure that everyone sent their logs to him, so I guess we can probably see if we can't figure out the personal QSOs. I know for myself, I probably made a few hundred contacts.
yeah, I only had about 151 between 40 and 20, but whatever it takes to help out the club.
Yeah, any contact is good because it helps our numbers. So
Okay,
yeah, if we can dig up the numbers, we can see about throwing them on an addendum for another meeting some point.
okay, just so I didn't get anybody pissed off for any reason.
Nope, they probably just didn't have a complete set of everybody who participated. As you saw there, I think there's some calls in there that I don't remember seeing before. So either somebody decided to submit and they decided if they wanted to contribute their scores to us or what, but it's kind of hard to accidentally type South Lyon area ARC when you submit your logs.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
I had one question. The Brighton location, do you know what the altitude of that is versus the Field Day site's 1,100, if I'm not feet, right?
I think it was less than 100-ish feet difference otherwise. I mean, it's fairly flat over there, so it's not like it's on a hill, but
My GPS is telling me around 930, 940, if I remember right.
Yeah, we talked about it that day at the time, and you had looked it up, John. It's under the being on top of the hill, but the other advantages of that site, I mean, I was very excited about that site versus the ordeal we went through trying to do things on top of the hill in South Lyon. You didn't mention, Mike, the advantage that the ground is flat and that motorhomes can get in there.
yeah, the road's a little bumpy, but it's not any worse than the going up to the hill. Again, the park there is officially 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I mean, we'd have to work around that. It's a fabulous location. A lot of real estate that's spread out on. And like you say, it's all flat too.
This is K8MST, Mark. Is the goal to have multiple people set up stations in the quarterly parks on the air, or just have everybody operate through one common club station?
As far as our club, we don't have any particular reason to go one way or the other. I mean, it depends on the availability, I guess, of the people who are participating. So, I mean, if the way that Parks on the Air scores the ADIF, so if N8SL gets submitted with the operator at field added to it, both the club and the operator get credit for those QSOs.
Okay, so you can just declare it. So you really don't care. If more people come, then fine. Set up different stations and kind of challenge each other or else together. Okay.
Yeah. So if we just have somebody that wants to come up and just hang out and jump on the radio, make a couple contacts, we just, switch the operator in the logging and they make the contacts and then they can be on their merry way if they don't want to be around for a while. And, it works for us. And if they want to do their own personal thing as well, that's fine too.
Okay. Well, I happen to just take up an interest in it. And so I've been hunting, and then I'm going to start trying to go activate. And I got myself a new little portable radio. I got one of those Yaesu 891s, and I want to try to start doing more of the parks on there just to get me to go out and do stuff. So I'm interested in doing that one.
Very good. Yeah, that radio is very popular. In fact, most of us here in the event committee has it. It's a very handy radio for doing what we do. It was originally designed. to be a mobile radio, but I've yet to see anybody fix one in their car. It's a great little radio. It's fairly affordable, and it's 100 watts, does a lot of what we need it to do. And it's
perfect.
yeah, I'm sure there's you've probably seen lots of videos on YouTube about people using them, and they're fairly ubiquitous. So lots of people out there got good results with them. And even with the basic antennas, they go out and have a lot of fun, and they really can develop their skills real fast.
Okay, good. I'm interested.
No, good. Well, let us know, anybody on the event committee, myself, Lewis, he can't make it, NADLEK, Eric, KDRS, he's also missing tonight, and John, NUADM. We're all really experienced with parks on the air. So if one of us is not available, we can, help Elmer you and, bring you out to a park or meet you somewhere and help, review your gear and figure out what
Right.
help.
I'm new in many ways, so I got to learn by doing it the wrong way or get some help.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We'll talk.
Learn by doing and learn by seeing somebody else help you out. It doesn't have to be hard. And it's Parks on the Air gives a lot of opportunities for learning new skills. And if it's not the radio, it's the, how to design and build a nice antenna, how it's to log your contacts, how to interact with the social media that we have. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot of fun that people have with it, and it's an opportunity for people to get on the air when they get on, get their ticket. They don't really have a whole lot of experience with the microphone, so it's as easy as just making QSOs and getting them in the log, just like you would with a field day, or you can make it as casual as you want and have a little chit chat, or it's whatever you want to make of it.
On Parks on the Air, the little yellow dots are the park numbers, the parks?
Are you looking at the website?
Yeah, I'm on their map, yeah.
Let me see about pulling that up. Let me,
I think it is the case. If you look at, there's a little dot, and then you can press the dot and it'll tell the park number for the website.
yeah, so if you can see here, I'm not sure if you can see my spots when you go to POTA.app. This is kind of the shortcut website we use. It's easy to type on a cell phone. And this is basically the live spotting page is by default what we have pop up. But we also have an active map here. And if I have my GPS coordinates sharing with my R browser, so here it zooms in on my location. So all these little yellow dots are various parks. And if you click on it, you can go here to Island Lake, and it tells us Island Lake, where it's at, some of the information about who manages it, Michigan Department of Natural Resources. If we want, I can click this link, and right now it'll go to the park's website if you want more information directly on that.
So Hillcrest State Game Area is,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So we've got, and then further down here, we have.
I'm looking out my window at it.
Good for you. Well, you can walk across and set up an antenna and start working some people on it. So we have, here's some of the park stats. People who go out to the parks are called activators. And yeah, so you have like me, I have Eric, the club here has got calls. So if we start hovering over, you can see, who's kind of like the park leader. Here's Kate Marty. He had, 287 contacts there. And we have people who are our top chasers as well, who keep trying to get us in the log. Here's some list of activations. Let me see if I can minimize this, get that out. So, and on the list of activations here, this guy here, K8ZRY, was out here on the 26th of July, and he made 81 contacts, and it tells you, it breaks down by CW data and phone, and it keeps going here. So Island Lake has been very popular because it's been local to us, so we keep getting it on the air. But if we wanted to go back to the parks and just kind of look around here, I'm going to go here to the United States and yeah, it's up. So we got a reactive map here. So, as we zoom in, here's Ohio. We're going to start seeing all their yellow dots pop up. So we have thousands of parks for people to go to and play in.
So one other, this is Mark again. I was going to just give some just general information because I know a lot of people from the club go to the SLAARC. You know, we have that ham camp, and they're planning the ham camp September. Oh wait, yours is in October. I'm sorry, it's in September. The ham camp was on the 15th, but I got it confused. Yours planning parks on the October, so the month before. Strike it. Never mind.
No, that's all right.
I
No,
was
so
thinking it
anyway,
would be conflicting with that one, but we're going to try to do some parks on the air at Brighton Rec during that ham camp the next time.
yeah, if you sign up on the website, you can log in and you get your own. Let me move that thing out of the way.
And you can like post it in advance. So that's, I was going to try to be my first one maybe
Yeah, so when we
in
sign
a
in
couple
here,
of weeks.
so I'm gonna sign in on
But I
my
was
own.
just going to point out that if you were trying to schedule it in October 16th, but that's not, I was confused because I thought it was the same couple days after, but it's not. It's a month.
So anyway, yeah, if you're planning on getting in there, you can sign up for an account. When you do, you know, you can go to your homepage here and manage your stuff. So these are the various awards that some people can get. As an activator, you start out, you get 10 activations. You get a little award. They're worth internet bragging points.
Yeah, I already did it. It's real easy too. As a novice, I set it up and I've been already getting some hunting awards. So it is easy and it seems a lot of fun.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I'm gonna do more and more.
Yeah, and for the people who are at home too, they may be making these awards, but if they don't sign in, they won't know it. But I mean, if they sign up and then find out, they may have a whole bunch of these sitting here waiting for them.
It is. It's retroactive because I did it. It's like, wow, a lot of them came in. So, well,
Yeah,
I'll get a hold of you later because I think it's an interesting and fun thing. So I want to do it.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, get a hold of me. And then, so, you know, here is my own personal page here. I've got a whole bunch of awards and various things. Like if I was at a park for a late shift, that's like to encourage people to be there longer than, you know, just the daytime. It's really good for people who are camping. Some of these other ones are to encourage the repeatability. So if somebody goes to a park once and they say, well, I've already done it, I don't need to go back. Well, yeah, well, we have a repeat offender award. So if you keep going to the same park and you do it over and over and over, and eventually you get an award for it. We have some special event ones as well. So any of these summertime support your parks, you get awards for them. And then a list of my activations, recent ones. And then as I make contacts with other parks, so like say here on the 5th, I got a contact with N3VOP. He was over at Appalachian Trail in Maryland. And I got a contact here with a contact in South Dakota. So another thing is if you're really interested in getting something like a Worked All States Award with ARRL, you may find this doubles up and gets you to that without having to wait for like a state QSO party. All you have to do is watch for people traveling around the states and find out who's where. Because if I go to the schedule, I can see, oh, here's some guy, he's going to be in Bryce Canyon National Park. If I need Utah, I can try and listen for this guy if I know he's going to be on the air. Or, you know, if I need, a certain state, here's one in New Zealand. If I wanted to try and chase him, I don't know if he's going to really make it, but, you know, it's a hint that somebody may make it. So again, these are just ones that people are scheduling. People can do an activation without ever scheduling it here as well. It could just be ad hoc and figure out, yeah, I've got a lunch break. I'm just going to run down to the park like Kate MRD used to do. And he used to just put the park on the air during his lunch break. So these are just the ones people are scheduling. We got a whole bunch of stuff on the park. So, you know, again, if you hear somebody calling from a park and you don't know where it is, you can come up here and search it too. It's like, okay, 003. You type their number, that's the reference number that is assigned to the park. You can just type it in there and search for it. So,
hey, Mike,
yeah.
is scheduling the same thing as spotting?
No.
Okay, so scheduling would be done prior to trying to activate.
So if I decide I'm going to go camping somewhere for a weekend, I could pre-schedule myself at that park And what we have is some advanced things with the reverse beacon network. So if my call sign gets picked up by an RBN network, if I'm doing CW, and I happen to have a matching time slot in our schedule, I will automatically get spotted to the website, and it will let people know that I'm there. So I don't have to get onto the website when I'm out in the middle of the woods, try and post a spot and letting people know I'm there. It'll automatically pick it up. And it'll also work with, we're working on getting it to work with FT8 and the digital modes, as well as APRS beacons and SMS texting. So we can try and get spots in so that all the people who want to find you are going to be able to find you on that spotting page.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I didn't know that,
Yep.
that you could do that. That's helpful.
Yeah. So like if you see any of these comments, some here, this one right here I'm looking at, this one was a CW guy or an FT8 one that was picked up via an RBN network and was respotted. So based on the fact that he was at a park, the RBN network doesn't know anything about these numbers. So this would be tagged in the schedule so that it would combine the spot with the park and the schedule and automatically spot this guy. So now anybody who wants to look for him is going to be able to find him and know where he's at.
I'm looking at their
Yeah.
website and I can't get it to show me anything. Do I have to sign up first before it shows me the good stuff like the park list?
Are you on parksontheair.com?
Yeah, I was.
Let's see. Sometimes if your browser does not have the GPS location data sharing, it's not gonna.
Yeah, work for me, Mike. I just typed in POTA.app and brought up the same screens you're showing.
Yeah,
on
there's
my-
we've been working on this website for years, and it's still in transition. It's a constant work in progress. So the original one was originally written in PHP, and it's kind of showing its age. But now the reactive website is all in a framework called Vue, and that's a JavaScript framework, and it's meant to be a single page application. So there's a ton of work that goes into making that work right. So part of the older legacy site here is on the parksontheair.com, which then a lot of the things link over to the POTA.app, which is the framework that allows us to be more modern experience. But if one of the things the browsers do is they withhold the privacy information, so the GPS coordinates don't always necessarily make it. So if you go to the map and it drops you in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean outside of Africa, that's because the browsers didn't share your data.
I got it to show me this Hillcrest State game plan now finally, and I'm surprised that how many people have activated it.
Yeah, it is, and it's these parks are all at the state and federal level. We're not even anywhere thinking about getting like county or city. We just don't have the manpower to database 100,000 parks.
I mean, it says you've activated it. Hillcrest.
Oh, I've activated everything around here for the most part. I've been pretty active.
Okay. And somebody called KU8T. Is that you, dyslexic? What's the word I want, Larry?
Being dyslexic? No.
Tom,
No,
yes, he's very active and
KU8T is very active, and I get a lot of his QSL cards, but it's not.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where we have so many people in there that we're getting some call signs that are fairly similar. And it happens a lot with some either husband and wives where they have one letter difference between their their call signs. So you got to really listen to who you're trying to work.
I have to say that I am so thankful that you guys do this field day stuff as well as the Parks on the Air stuff. For me, it's been really fun. I've learned a lot, and I'm glad, like I logged into my Parks on the Air account and I saw like the 15 contacts that I made when I was with NASL, and I was really excited about it. Like, oh my gosh, here are, I already had 15 of them, just from attending that event. So
Yeah,
thank you so much, you guys for setting this up and, helping out, helping educate people and getting new hams involved.
thanks. It's great to hear, because that's one of the things that motivated me. I mean, I really loved getting out to field day, and just having it once a year was like, I can't wait for Christmas again. I'm gonna have to do this myself and get out and do something new. I was looking at a program called Summits on the Air, and it's like, we just don't have them around in Michigan, so it's hard to get to of anything of any consequence, and you have to drive 20 hours to get to something.
Well,
It's
there's always Mount Brighton.
yeah, that's not like
I'm sorry, I
County
couldn't
High Point.
resist.
Yeah, county high points aren't all that thrilling. So, but yeah, the Parks on the Air gives us a lot of opportunities to get people experience with the hobby. So if it's not, HF, it could be, just doing 2 meter, 70 centimeters. If they're a technician, they can do it. There's places more out east that are favorable to, the handies than what we have around here. Or if you're out on the summits out west, you can do them too. But parks are fairly ubiquitous, so they're distributed for the most part everywhere, and you don't have to depend on a geographical feature like a lighthouse on a shore of a lake, or an island, or a summit. So there's a little bit more fairness in how they're distributed.
Jennifer, did you find that you learned a lot more about your new radio in actually using it? And were you able to get assistance from others who maybe you weren't sure what this particular knob or did or didn't do? And did you get some help that way?
Yeah, quite a bit. The radio that I have is a 5-watt maximum. So what I learned is that with that radio, I'm probably going to want to maybe look into some FT8 type stuff, or learn some CW, that was part of my goal anyway. Eventually, was to learn CW and operate on some of those types of bands where I don't need that much power.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've learned. But I've been playing with the radio since then, and learning more about and watching a lot of videos, on how to get them to work. And I think just kind of attending these events and
Yeah.
seeing how it's done has been like kind of inspirational on that. It's made me actually want to look into different things to try and different things to learn about. So
Well, that's good.
it's always helpful. Yeah.
And actually all of the digital modes, like PSK 31 is a really nice mode in that it's like an interactive thing without talking. You're doing with the keyboard. And a lot of times there are people who can handle a keyboard like a typewriter a whole lot better than they can handle a CW key. And so those QSOs can be pretty long and pretty interesting. So you might look in that, and they are limited to low power. So
yeah, that's great to hear. So we designed the program so that whatever mode of operating you want to do, for the most part, you can do in Parks on the Air. We don't allow repeater contacts on terrestrial, so it's pretty much anything else is fair game. So if digital modes are your thing, we have people that just do digital only, and they go and they switch from PSK to MFSK to RTTY they try all the oddball stuff, and it gets an opportunity out there for people to look for it too. Because if I know that so-and-so is going to go out to the parks and he runs these weird modes, I got a chance to try them myself. And even if I'm not going to a park, I can try them chase from home. And, or if I know that, somebody's out on CW and I want to improve my CW skills, I know what the exchange is going to be, and it's not hard to, kind of anticipate what they're going to do. So I can try and work my CW skills up. And I don't have to wait for that state QSO party to hear that state if I'm looking for it. So nice way to fill in the holes too, if you're trying to combo it with another contest. All right, so that's pretty much it for me. So anybody else got any Parks on the Air questions?
Is there any other events like club wise for Parks in the Air coming up other than autumn day,
If you
whatever it is?
want to just go out to one of us, and I'm sure we can make it happen. So between the event committee of we're fairly active. We got our own things going on too. But if we know that you want to get out and try something, we'll just reach out and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, just ask if we can do something. And the worst that can happen is they'll say no, but probably they'll say maybe or yes. So if there's something you want to get done, if there's something you want to try that you haven't seen before, ask. And somebody will be interested enough to help you out and move things in that direction. I would guess.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't have it yourself, we can contribute we can bring it as well. Cause we've got various antennas, we got various power sources, we got the different radios, and maybe you're going to see something there that really inspires you to go with, a certain configuration and based on what you want to do. Because for example, if you want to go backpacking, that QRP radio is definitely going to go better than a IC 7300.
And a gigawatt or 115 watt or 1500 watt amplifier.
I know somebody who backpacked with a small amplifier.
Yeah.
That didn't work out well.
I've got a question slightly off topic. Bruce,
Sure.
I haven't heard how you like the K4 compared to the K3. And you've had it for long enough now that I think that you've probably got a fair amount of time using the new K4, and you had plenty of time using the K3. So can you give us kind of a rundown on how much better it is and in what ways and so forth?
Well, as you probably know already, it's very, very similar to the K3. The button setup and the way you control it is very, very similar, essentially identical to the K3. Of course, that being the starting point for it, because you don't have an external pan adapter. It's built right in on the screen. It's very colorful, a lot of fun, has all kinds of different features, stuff that probably I will never really explore all of them. I was just reading on the internet today about some other stuff you can do with it in contesting in conjunction with N1MM that I was not aware of. And so it's great. Other than that, I mean, performance wise, I couldn't tell you I could really tell there's any difference.
Okay.
The receiver is very selective, very sharp. I mean, you can park right next to somebody and you can see them on the pan adapter and you don't hear a thing. There's the audio is on steroids. The audio from the K3 was kind of lacked some things, but the audio on the K4 is much superior, including they've done some special effects that are quite interesting. It does seem to have some kind of high frequency artifacts on keying when you're operating QSK. And actually, I found I've gotten used to it. When you first experience it, it comes to your attention pretty quickly because it's something that never occurred on the K3. But since that time, I hardly even notice it anymore. And I'm not sure if it's something that will be resolved in time or not. I haven't heard any talk about it or anything, and I haven't brought it up, on a reflector or anything. But other than that, I don't know if you had any specific questions about it or anything. It's certainly a radio that is going to be very popular and sell. And people have asked me, why should I get the radio? It really can't do anything that the K3 can't do. And but there are still reasons to get it, even though you're going to have to lay out more money for it. But there's still good reasons to do it because it's a new product. They're already on version 19 of the software, and beyond. Some versions beyond that are not available to me. And that's gonna continue to develop. There'll be all kinds of new things and improvements and enhancements over the years. I'm sure that they and they've made a point out of building a lot more resources into the K4 than are being used now, so that they have lots of headroom to put more software and more features and embellish it more and more. I think one of them we're certainly waiting for is the linearization loop, where you sample the RF out of your amplifier and feed a sample of that back to the radio, and it will linearize that change so that you have very, very good low distortion transmitted signals. And that, as we remember from our little presentation from Rob Sherwood, that's really the key to being able to get more signals on the air without interfering with each other. The receivers are the good receivers are all so good, you're really not going to go much further with that. The only way to get better occupancy on the bands with less interference will be to attack the transmitter spurious output problem.
Okay. Thanks. That was kind of what I was looking for. I appreciate it.
It was probably too long, but
Better too long than too short.
okay. Okay.
Well, Mike, thank you very much for being the presenter, and thank Eric and John, you too, and the whole committee. You guys have been doing a great job. Really pleased with the other people that get active because of you guys, and that's good stuff. So thank you much, and really appreciate the job you do.
All right, thanks everyone. I'm gonna break out here. So I got another thing to tend. So again, anybody got POTA questions, send them my way. So.